A little bit of what part is this. I got one laying here on the floor. This one that I'm looking at right now is actually a 2005. I have a 2003, 2004 laying here on the floor. This right now is the best example of one that I have, but let's take a look at the 2005 harness. Okay, now this part here runs in through the firewall, so you have a vacuum line that feeds through the dash harness to feed your boost gauge. I believe this one plugs into like the clutch pedal assembly. This one here is your brakes. These two go into the big 3-port connector, where one of these connectors comes from the rear harness and plugs in. All three of these will plug into your dash. This is your OBD2 port. This is the one that runs to the rear harness. This is 05 specific. Okay, now when you come through the firewall, it'll break off. You'll have a vacuum line here. You'll be able to plug in your ABS unit. This one here, I think this is the ABS sensor. This runs to your rear harness for your rear ABS sensors. Man, think. Power, no, not power steering. This one is for the emissions. This one is the power steering rack pressure sensor, and this is a secondary O2 sensor. Following up through the harness, you have a plug here for the level sensor on the brake booster. This harness here plugs into the engine harness. Okay, then you come down into your fuse box harness. It has all of your relays. Your cover pretty much tells you what's in there. Your positive from your battery will hook here. When you come out of the harness, the first thing you'll have will be the air intake temp sensor and the tip sensor. Then you have your transmission reverse light sensor. Then you come over to your headlights and your turn signal off of your front light. Specific srt4 only will be the boost solenoid harness part. Come down through, it breaks off. This is the one, this is the lead that feeds to your passenger side. Okay, it's going to be a little bit easier if I just knock these ones out here. So you have a main ground. This one goes on the core support above the ECM. All right, so here's your ECM brackets. They're all labeled with color. So you'll have a black and a white for the main harness. If the engine harness will have the orange plug. If it's not an srt4 and it's automatic, or if it's a PT and it's an automatic, it will have a green plug. All right, now you have this one here, feeds down around past the cold side of the intercooler through the core support. This one will feed your side marker, and this one feeds your fog lights. All right, running across the bottom, the next plug that you come to right here, you can kind of tell it has some thick wires. This feeds your 2 fans. It plugs into a harness there. All right, running across, it splits off here right before it goes up through. These ones come out. This feeds your horn, washer bottle, fog light, and side marker. Okay, and it comes up through. Then there's another small ground here on the side. Goes right up by the headlight on the top of the core support. Comes up through. You'll see your turn signal and your headlight. Runs out through, runs down through, runs to the back. Jeez, I gotta get that right. Runs to the back. This one here is for your ABS. This one here is for the pressure sensor, for the AC right there at the firewall. Now, the 2 main differences that you'll find on these harnesses, these things really like to twist together. Okay, this separated out for you. All right, now you have your brake switch, your 2 that go to the dash, your vacuum line, your OBD2 port. You have this square one here, which goes to the clutch pedal sensor. All right, and then the 03, 04 have this, and the 05 has this plug. Okay, now there's a couple different places that an 05 will be different with plugs. There will be a gray plug back for the hatch, or the trunk hatch. I don't know why I said hatch, but the trunk harness plugs in, and there's a gray plug there, square plug, instead of this style plug. And then also, if you pull your top dash cover where the blower motor plugs in, and the harness from the dash plugs into the harness that feeds the blower motor resistor and your wiper motor. Actually, those plugs are different too. Okay, so let's take a look. We've got a car up here, and let's kind of go through and see where stuff goes. All right, now the part that's inside goes back through here. It will come out. It's probably a little dark up in here. Your OBD2 port is here. Your brake switch. The other plugs are right here that plug in. Your main plug is right in behind this area right here that everything will plug into. It kind of fits in there, and when the dash goes in, it's kind of mounted on the firewall, and the dash is here. So when you're installing your dash, it plugs in by itself. It's nothing that you have to plug in separate unless you're doing a conversion. Now, it's going to come out. It's going to feed your ABS. Here is your fuse box. You're going to have your harness for your solenoids, tip, air, trans. All right. Runs down through your computer. Feed your headlights across the bottom. Feed your fans right down here. Runs across, comes up through. Here's a ground. Here's the other ground. Missed that one. All right. It's going to feed these headlights. It's going to go down in behind here. Feed this fog light. The horn's in behind here. Your washer bottle is down in behind there. And then it's going to run back along. And it's going to plug into that AC sensor there. And then run down through to your ABS. And that will be the main, that's the main fuse box. I like to call a fuse box engine bay harness. So that'll pretty much cover that. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. If you have anything you want to add, go right ahead. I just tried to cover everything. I try to make these little short videos so you guys know what parts are what when you're looking for it. So if you have a 2005 car and you need this front harness, it's 1 year only. You can only pull it from a 2005 srt4. All right. The 03, 04s will be in the 2003 and 04. So you have more options. I'm not sure on the production numbers. I never really, I mean, I know what they are, but I never sat down to figure out what the differences were. Everything else on the harness is the same. If you have an 05, I've heard of people changing this plug end out here and making them work, vice versa. So I mean, that's always an option. Someone that knows what they're doing can probably figure that out. I think the fuse pump or the fuel pump and something else runs through that plug, but I'm not sure. I've never pinned them out, so I don't know. I just go what can go in the car and what's going to be plug and play and what's going to be simple for you. So if you have this, all right, and you want to use that because you can't get any of these, you can use the rear body harness and plug it in. Okay. If you're doing a conversion, you want to have everything match. You want to have all 03, 04 wiring, or you want to have all 05 wiring. If you have the 05 wiring, you're probably going to want to have an 05 computer. That way you don't have the battery sensor show up. Which would it be? Not battery sensor. See, I totally lost that one. Okay. Here's something else that I should have added. All right. This plug here goes to the battery temp sensor. Okay. See where that is? 05, they deleted that. That's why I was saying if you have an 05 harness, you want to have an 05 computer because it's already deleted in the ECM. It has that battery sensor. You have to plug something in here or your little battery light will be coming on your dash and you'll think your alternator's bad, but it's not. All right. Hopefully that's it. Wiring harness out.